Hey family, before we dive into today's video, I really appreciate your support. Subscribing is one of the best ways to help us out. It's quick, free, and keeps the awesome content coming. Every listen, like, and share truly means a lot. Let's keep this channel growing. Thank you so much. I'm 20 for female, and I have an older sister, 28 female. We're not very close with one another. The biggest reason why we are not so close is because of how everyone has treated us differently, as she is the older daughter somewhere. She got the better end of the stick, and she was always treated a lot better than I was growing up. Something always felt off to me at first. I thought it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But as I got older, all these moments started adding up, painting a clear picture. It was undeniable she was a golden child, the one everyone favored no matter what she did, even if it was utterly crazy. She always got the benefit of the doubt. It was like she had this invisible shield around her, protecting her from any blame or consequences, and it wasn't just a what-I'm thing. It happened repeatedly, creating this unfair pattern. She could make mistakes, big or small, and it was always overlooked or excused. It was frustrating and baffling to witness how differently she was treated compared to the rest of us. While it was not a good feeling, I tried to overcome it, but the only way I could do it was by moving away from the house. I would say I succeeded in doing that because since I moved out, I've been able to take care of my mental health a lot better, but I would be lying if I said that things were fine since I moved out. When I was 18, my sister did everything to ruin my image in the eyes of my parents. She told my parents that I was doing drugs and drinking alcohol when I was not, and my parents believed her over me. They did not think about believing me for a second. I was okay with sitting for a drug test just to prove my innocence, but they could not be bothered. The big takeaway from all of this is that my bond with my parents took a hit because of my sister. When I finally moved out and the dust settled, I made a conscious decision to cut ties with my parents for a good 2 years. I just didn't want them in my life at all, and honestly, it felt pretty great being free from all that drama. I could focus on my career, my life, my boyfriend, and everything else. I was leading a happy life without the thought of them affecting me in the slightest. But when things took a turn for the worse, when COVID hit, I was not talking with them during the first months of lockdown. But then I got news that my dad was hospitalized. I felt like it is a duty of a daughter to show up for him. I do not believe in treating someone the way they treat me. I treat people the way I want to treat them. And despite everything, I wanted to be there for him. Went to his hospital stay. I started talking to my parents. Things have been fine since then. We began patching things up. My sister wasn't thrilled, but I made it clear that I was determined to stick to my decisions. Moreover, when my parents approached me about their financial struggles, I stepped in to assist as much as possible. I realized it might sound strange, but in my mind I felt that by being there in places where my sister wasn't, I could somehow balance the scales and be seen as an equal. This was because I knew my sister was waiting just around the corner to sabotage the whole relationship that I had with them. Helping them out financially actually worked in my favor the way I had intended, because whenever my sister tried to do some messed up stuff, my parents were open about how she did not show up when they needed her. So there's no need for her to talk bad about me. I would be lying if I said that I did not know that they did not want to piss me off because they were scared I would stop helping them. It was true. I knew I was going to stop helping them if they did anything wrong, and based on their financial condition, they needed whatever help they could get. I could be considered a bad person, but then again, I wanted to not be treated like garbage anymore. So I was willing to do whatever was required. While all of this was happening, my boyfriend and I were going steady. After our 4th years, he proposed to me. I accepted, and it felt like finally my life was looking up. I had a decent symbiotic relationship with my parents. My job was going well, and on top of that, my boyfriend and I were engaged to be married. Everything was planned out beautifully, and I was very excited. The only person who was not excited was my sister. She could not imagine why I thought I should get married so young when she's not even married. I'll level with you, my sister's track record with relationships has been shaky at best. Nothing ever lasted beyond a year, so it's no surprise she isn't married. Her whole argument that I shouldn't get married because she isn't sounded like a load of nonsense, to put it frankly. I chose to respectfully brush off her opinion. The wedding was planned for a weekend to ensure everyone could be there, and I sent out the invitations. I sent invitations to my sister and my parents because despite everything, I really wanted my family to be there. The wedding was a week ago last Saturday, and guess what happened? My parents did not show up. You could be thinking that something had happened or something, maybe something major. No, they did not show up because my sister decided to host a lunch at her place on the same date, and my parents decided it's much more important to meet their older daughter for her lunch than be there for their youngest daughter for her wedding. Their behavior hit me hard. It was beyond unsettling. It felt like a twisted joke because they didn't bother to inform me they weren't coming. I kept waiting for 30 agonizing minutes, holding on to hope, until my mom revealed my sister's social media post to me, and that was when I found out that they were not coming. They looked so happy sitting next to her, as if she was the only daughter That they had I decided at that moment I do not plan on helping them anymore. I decided that I am 7 years too late to cut them off, but now is as good a time as any, so that is what I did. After my wedding was done, I sent them a message clearly stating that I will never consider them as my parents again because they have repeatedly chosen my sister over me even when I have pulled through wherever she liked, and as they refuse to respect me, I will not respect them either. Since then, I stopped calling them mom and dad, and they're not happy. They have sent me several messages trying to excuse their behavior, but I am adamant I do not plan on being nice to them in the slightest. But somewhere I feel like a huge a-hole for treating them that way. So I guess that's why I'm here. I too, or am I overthinking? Update 1. Hey everyone, I really appreciate you guys being there for me. Sorry it took me a while to update you guys. Upon returning from my honeymoon, I wanted to share my thoughts with you. I don't believe I'm in the wrong, but oddly enough hearing you say that I'm not. And a hole made my day. I've been dodging my entire family since then, because they've been bombarding me with messages online. My sister and parents think they did nothing wrong, and I'm the one who's overreacting. My parents are not very happy with me refusing to pay for their stuff as well. They know very well that my sister is not going to pay for anything because she does not have the money to spare. But oh well, I'm not planning on being friendly with them anymore. I hate that they made me feel like that. Update to so I know it's been about 3 days since I last updated you guys. Yesterday my mother showed up at my place. I did not want to talk to her in the slightest, but she had been waiting outside my apartment like for hours before I came. That is what my neighbors told me later, so thinking it might be best, I decided to open up to her. Turns out that wasn't the wisest move. As soon as the door shut, my mom unleashed her fury on me. According to her, I was being unreasonable, practically labeling them as villains. She argued that just because I'm married doesn't mean I should act like my spouse is my only family. I have a family, and I should treat my parents and sister as my family too. I told her that whatever she's saying would be applicable if she ever treated me as family, but she never did. I was always treated like I was useless every time I needed them. She did not pull up. So what is the point of her coming to me and now pretending like I mean something to her? I also pointed out to her that even though she could have chosen to be there for me, she chose my sister on the day of my wedding. But my mom was so far up in her head, she did not think that what she was doing was bad in any shape or form. It was pathetic seeing her behave the way she was behaving. It was sad. She did not think whatever she did was at all offensive or can be considered offensive by anyone. Instead, she insisted that I was the one who overreacted, and I hated that. I told her to get out and never get back in touch with me again unless she's ready to accept that she has been choosing my sister over me, and things are shifting in how my mom interacts with me now. She called me crazy, and I simply told her she could leave and never bother to reconnect if that's her stance. Update 3. Hi everyone, it's been a bit since I last updated you. I appreciate all the support from those who cheered me on during that conversation. I'm going to cut off my parents. I appreciate that very much. I told you guys in the last update how my conversation with my mother ended up. We have not been talking since then. My father has been reaching out to me, and I have been ignoring him as well. My sister has messaged me on social media asking me to grow up and stop overreacting. But lunch was really important to her, and family members have to sometimes sacrifice things for each other. I told her, and my father the same thing. I told my mother, and I have been adamant about the whole thing. While I do want to have a healthy relationship with my mother and father, unless they're willing to put in the work, I will not be the one carrying the whole weight on my shoulders. OP and TJ, honestly, you are my hero because I'm in a situation similar to yours with a family that is blatant about their favoritism, and honestly if I could leave I would do the same thing that you're doing at AJ. They do not deserve to be called mom and dad if they're not willing to be a mom and dad to you. Anyone who thinks otherwise can take a long walk off a short pier. Next story. So my girlfriend, 22 female, and I, 20 for male, have been dating for about 4 years. When I first introduced her to my friends, I noticed that she was getting along really well with my cousin Sam, who was 24. They had a similar sense of humor and common interests. Seeing my girlfriend challenge him to a shots competition and get him drunk on tequila was the highlight of our first New Year's together. It made me really happy to see them become friends, since me and Sam are very close as well. Sam started dating Olivia, 20 for female, a year and a half ago, and they got engaged last December. He called me last week and asked me if I wanted to be the best man at his wedding. Obviously I said yes. While we were talking, I mentioned how excited my girlfriend was for them and the wedding. He went silent. I asked if something was wrong, and he explained that Olivia and he planned a small wedding for just close family and friends. They decided not to invite partners unless they were married or engaged. I got upset asking how they could make such a decision without considering our relationship, and told me that, well, he wanted my girlfriend there if they made an exception for us, then other people would expect it as well. So there was nothing he could do. When I told my girlfriend about what happened, she was visibly hurt. So 2 days ago I texted Olivia and asked her if she and Sam discussed about our situation. She said that She doesn't want a stranger at their wedding, and that she doesn't consider her family regardless of how serious our relationship is. I snapped and told Olivia that most of Sam's family therefore might see my girlfriend as part of the family more than they see her, since she didn't bother to build relationships with relatives other than Sam's parents. Then Olivia got upset and told my cousin everything he called and insisted I apologize. If I wanted to remain the best man, I refused, saying I wouldn't attend without my girlfriend being invited. Sam hasn't talked to me since, and my girlfriend thinks I should apologize to salvage my relationship with my cousin. I stay a wedding invitation is not a summons. They are free to make their choices, but you're also free to decline the invitation. What the heck kind of earth-shattering flood of plus ones are they expecting at an already small wedding? That's the flimsiest excuse I've ever heard. This would be reasonable if you just met. This might even be reasonable if you were a regular guest. However, you've been with your girlfriend for 4 years and you're the best man. Not allowing her to come is specifically callous. They're literally saying it's her or us, and your girlfriend is clearly the winner simply by not picking the fight. They know her, she's not a stranger, but they're choosing to treat her like one, and if they lose her, and you by extension, that's the choice they made. It seems the groom felt ashamed and hesitant, indicating he knew it was unjust. This choice likely came from the bride feeling envious, perhaps. Keep your heart open, but not to blame. Sam is the one causing rifts. You exacerbated it by confronting the bride. Let this take its course. You care for Sam, but you can't compete with his determined bride opinion. To you seem very serious in your relation, and as you mentioned, your family has accepted your girlfriend as part of them. I think the fact your girlfriend got along so great with your cousin is a real issue. Olivia doesn't want her there. You're definitely AA for defending your girlfriend. And to the no unmarried, unengaged couples rule is stupid, and it downplays a lot of perfect valid couplings, yours included. If the bride doesn't want strangers at her wedding, don't invite someone who might bring a stranger. But it is their wedding, and they can make whatever stupid rules they want. You all within your right to not go, and you're giving proper notice to do so. So, no, you aren't the whole. Here, next story. I met my husband 7 years ago when my son was 4. We found out we were expecting a daughter just 2 months after I started dating my partner, who has a biological child. Our relationship has been fantastic despite moving quickly. However, a recent issue arose. My son is turning 12 soon, and we promised him a phone for his birthday. He's been asking since he was 9 because all his friends have one, and he feels left out. I felt terrible and wanted to cave several times, but didn't because my husband and I already decided together that we would get him one at age 12. Now that his birthday is right around the corner, he's very fixated and excited that he would be able to get a phone. He's fully expecting it, which I already knew would happen because of how many times we told him when you're 12. Well, I was looking at phones online the other day that had some parental controls and all that happy jazz, and my husband decided in this moment that he doesn't think my son is old enough for a phone, and that he should have to wait until he's at least 15. I told him that absolutely was not happening, but entertained his reasoning to figure out the why. He said that basically he didn't want my kid having access to any form of social media, and he feels that getting him a phone would be forcing him to grow up too fast and be subjected to the media and ignorance. I reiterated that this was a deal we had with my kid and that I wasn't going back on it. Even though I disagreed with his and I didn't voice my disagreement, I stood firm on our promise. We argued about it for a good 30 minutes with him insisting my son doesn't even need a phone. But in the end I made it clear that it wasn't up for discussion. I told him my decision. I'm getting my kid a cell phone. He snapped back with then, it had better be a freaking flip phone because I don't want him on the damn internet. He has not spoken to me since 80. Half my friends are on my side, but the other half says I need to consider what he's saying and to sorry to push this another 3 years after making your son wait 3 years will shatter any trust he has in you both. Better to make rules, use parental software effectively, and teach him responsibility than alienate him like this. And to all the other kids his age are going to have phones. On top of this, many modern-day middle school classrooms send out SMS reminders for homework, exams, and supplemental classroom information your husband needs to get with the times. 1993 was 30 years ago. What's your husband going to tell your kid when he's 15? Wait till you're 18. On top of that, refusing to give your kid any responsibility is a self-fulfilling endeavor that guarantees you have an irresponsible child. It's far better for the kid to get exposure to social media while he's still receptive to your guidance than it is to wait until he's in the I know better stage, where he'll completely ignore your warnings and stumble into trouble. And you can limit access to kids' phone, and he will find a way how to get on social media if he wants to. My 7-year-old who have problems with reading found a way how to access the internet outside our home. Best way is to teach them being approachable when kids find something disturbing and not to freak out on them for what they saw.